My name is Jack Stenningson. I grew up in music. My dad is a huge classic rock fan and everything, so he taped 2 Aerosmith songs on a VHS tape for me off of Saturday Night Live when I was like 2 years old. And by the time I was 3, I was like dancing in front of the TV and singing along to those every time. So I fell in love with classic rock, and then that was start my childhood, got into like more heavy metal like Metallica and stuff. And then probably 13, 14 years old, I started getting into like pop punk. Buddies of mine would come to shows, and I really didn't know what shows meant at the time. And then one day, a friend of mine named Ackley, he said, you should really come to this show, it's going to be huge, whatever. So me and my couple friends of mine decided to just go down and check it out. Walked in there was like 350 people in there, it was insane. And I was just this little 14-year-old kid, so I didn't know what I was doing. And stood on the side and was expecting, like I said, like a singing band to start, and they were called Marty McFly. I'll never forget that. They started and they were just like this crazy fast screamo hardcore, and everyone just started going crazy, pitting and everything, and I had never seen anything like it. And like from that first note, I was like, this is where I need to be. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I'll never forget that night, because that night really changed the course of everything I've done since then. So I started going to shows throughout that, and then me and some friends from junior high got together and actually started a band, pop punk band called Accidental Children at first, and then we changed our name to Too Fast for Frank. Played our first show in 2005, and then basically that was another changing point, because after I played that first note on stage, I was like, you know what, this is also something I need to do. So then it just kind of happened. We'd be playing shows, I'd be going to shows, I'd be seeing local, regional touring bands every week as much as I could, and then just kind of evolved into a thing. And then now here I am running a venue that's the hub of all that in town. The main thing I've always wanted to do with this place is give some 14-year-old kid that same experience that I had doing that, coming to my first show and just being completely changed by it. Too Fast for Frank, my band, got asked to play a show at a new venue that was doing shows, and it was called the Red Raven. It's a cool coffee shop. And we said sure, because we said yes to every show at that time. Came down here, and it was a really cool spot. I mean, they were pretty new, so like none of the walls were painted yet. It was still very like brand new looking. The stage was in the corner instead of the side. And so we played it, and it was a really good show, really cool. The staff was awesome. We just discovered it was a really cool place to hang out. Over the years, people came and went, workers came and went, and they were always awesome about shows, but then stupid kids always have to mess things up, so they were starting to like etch their names into the tables and just like break things outside, and it just became a hassle for them. So eventually they started putting limitations on it. Me and 3 other guys, Charlie Wang, Jed Felix, and Rusty Steele, we got together. Well, actually, he wrote on my Facebook wall, he's like, what about us taking over the Red Ravens? And I've actually like went back and found that post every once in a while. I'm just like, this is what started it all, this is cool. Yeah, so I called the landlord, went up to the people upstairs, got his number, gave him a call, and was like, yeah, I mean, if you want to take a look at it, definitely go ahead. Apparently nobody else had been any interest in the space at all. So I met up with them in probably late January. We're like, hey, I think I'm taking over maybe in March or something. And he's like, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you want to like come and show the other guys around, here's a key for it and everything. So he like gave us keys months before we even rented the space. But yeah, so no, we ended up meeting down here, taking it over, and March 2011 was when we started. March 4th, 2011 was our first show ever. I think 64 kids showed up or something. But yeah, so it was really cool. We had like 2 tables in front. We had like a money box, not a till or anything. We just had like 2 speakers on sticks, and it was very crude, like just starting out, and then it just kind of evolved from there. And I mean, people came back because people grew up at the Raven. And I mean, that's not something we wanted to like get rid of. Like, no matter what the venue is called, I mean, this room has such a history. We've, over the past 5 years, really expanded on that history, and I'm kind of proud of that. So we do keep the Raven legacy alive, and I mean, I've keep a close relationship with them. They've had like recently they had their 10-year anniversary, so we gave them a bunch of like old flyers and pictures and stuff, and it was really cool to see how like this part of the scene started with the Raven, and we were super happy to be able to kind of inherit that. Well, my original biggest hope was to make a place that we'd want to see when we're on the road. Like, I play in a touring band, we've toured quite a bit over the past 5 or so years, so I mean, every time I go out on a tour, I take something like, oh, that would be a really cool thing to do here, and I try to like fix it and apply it there. So I mean, the original thing was to make a place that people walk in and say like, wow, I love this, as a band, and also have a, like I said, a 14-year-old kid come in here and be like, wow, this is the coolest thing in the world. The funniest and I guess most iconic things about this venue now that everyone associates with it is the girls' bathroom, which sounds kind of weird, but here I'll show you, and it's kind of become a thing that everyone has to do when they're here. So we have our gorilla here. We have our gorilla. We have one without a bone with a men's bathroom too. And you actually, if you look in the mirror, yeah, because everyone will take out their phone and take a picture of them with the mirror in the back. And they use the hashtag girls of TND, because it's the girls' bathroom. And if you look on Twitter or Instagram or anything like that, there's hundreds of pictures of just anybody, like bands, people going to shows, like some person had their baby in here and held their baby up for a girls of TND picture one time. And then out here we have the main room. We do things, we like to have other stuff set up, like for example, we just started, one of the guys that works here, he makes leather works, like just all sorts of key chains and stuff, guitar pick holders and stuff. So we like to support like the art, I guess, community by doing stuff like that, and we have a record thing as well. We have a bunch of games behind the back counter. We have N64, we have Super Nintendo, we have original Nintendo, we have PlayStation 2, we just added our PS2. So yeah, there's that, and then we have a bunch of movies, VHS and DVD hooked up as well. And then to go along with the gorilla in the bathroom, Paige, one of the girls that works here, she created this. And this is a couple years old now, so there's a ton more, but she made a book of just a ton of pictures of people in the New Direction bathroom. Yeah. So I mean, it's always kind of cool. People always love to look through it and just see all the ridiculous pictures people have taken in there. But I mean, that's we're gonna make another one eventually. So that's kind of, yeah, that's just a big part of the venue, is having that, like, that connection. So after one show, I think it was that August of 2013, like, we all kind of sat down in our orange room and said, like, this isn't worth it anymore, it's not working, like, we're out of money constantly. We were gonna basically put in our notice saying we're leaving, and right around that time, the building got sold from a private owner, I guess you could say, a private owner to Goldmark Properties. I think it was kind of a shock and I don't know, yeah, really a shock that people were like, oh crap, we're going to lose this place. And then when we did announce that we were staying, people realized they couldn't take it for granted. People got more involved, got active. So that's kind of when things really, really turned around, because they realized what they had and they got so close to losing it that they didn't take it for granted anymore.
I owe all of my friendships to this venue, because you meet people and you can just tell the people are here solely for the music, and it's like no matter what, like no matter like how you are outside in your life and how you like socialize with people outside of this venue, when you come here, like, you know you have something in common with every single person in this place.
So we had, I mean, we had some slow months because the winter's always slower, but we had absolutely 0 shows in January. We're like, oh, we're not going to make any money. Like, we need to do something. So Charlie came up with the idea of just asking like 15 local bands to like play a 3-day thing and call it something and make it cool. See Midwest, New Direction Fest is now like a destination festival, which in just 5 years is kind of unheard of. And I mean, that's a really cool thing because everyone's heard of the New Direction now. So I mean, it's New Direction Fest 5, and then it's the 5th anniversary of this place, which when I started to think they'd be around for 5 years was just completely unheard of. I was like, I was 20 when I started, and I'm 25 now. And I mean, this has been such a big part of my life for all of my 20s essentially, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But I mean, New Direction Fest is just a celebration. Well, I basically knew it was coming for almost all of 2016. Like I didn't know, like I hoped it wouldn't, but basically at one point, I think it was late last year, so late 2015, he came in and said, "Hey, would you guys ever be interested in moving?" And I said, "No, of course not. Like it's not just about our business, it's about that room. That room is what it is."
DIY venues do not have a lifespan that is long. I probably know one venue around right now doing DIY stuff that's been open for more than 10 years. Like you got the CBGBs and Gilman Street, and I mean CBGB's closed because gentrification. Like they bought out the building because they want to make nicer things.
I didn't know how to vision, like how to even picture having or not having the New Direction anymore because it had been 5 years. So it didn't really hit me that I wouldn't have it. It was just more like, do I need to get the plans in place to close it or not? So there was some sadness there. There wasn't really anger. I don't know, because I guess I just hadn't hit me at the point where that we would be here now where we are now without having it anymore. Well, there were so many bands I wanted to play that I knew I had to have like a 2-night kind of event. And how I wanted to structure it was the first night be for everyone, and the second night be for Fargo Hardcore. Because we were like, Fargo Hardcore started the venue, like it was the Life Won't Wait guys, Rusty from Battlefields and me, and we were all in hardcore bands, like metal bands and stuff like that. So that's kind of the first genres that were rooted in the New Direction. The first show was a hardcore show. I mean, the internet probably speaks for itself. We got like 100 and some retweets right away, and like 300 and some shares on Facebook, and just this insane amount of people just like quoting the tweet or quoting the thing on Facebook and saying like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this is happening." People from not just Fargo, Moorhead, people from Minneapolis, Chicago. Like there's a post from people in like New York and Texas and stuff. Like, man, like RIP TND, like it's losing the best venue in the country. So. wanted Time Moving Parts to play because they used to open shows in front of like 2 people at New Direction back in like 2011 and stuff, and now they're the biggest band in the world.
We'd play in front of like 10 to 15 people, like, you know, just our friends, but now, you know, this is like, you know, we've played some, fortunate enough to like play like some sold out shows here too, and like 180 people or whatever, and it's just pretty insane, like starting from kind of the bottom and, you know, just kind of working our way up. But it's just a great community too and everything. Just made a lot of friends here and stuff, and that's why it's really special.
We'll do one more song.
Yeah,
I hope there's a newer direction.
A newer direction.
Yeah.
Let's seriously one more time. Let's go for the New Direction. Jack and everybody. We shouldn't be super sad it's gone. We should be really happy this actually happened in our life, okay? Thanks again, everybody.
I was standing right behind Dylan's amp, just kind of leaning against it, just kind of watching the crowd, watching the band, and then like everyone just sang along. I was like, well, here it goes. So then I just like put my head down. I just was crying for a good 10, 15 minutes after that.
I just want this to be another step forward. I want this place to be just good memories, where I got to see some of my favorite bands, got to book some of my favorite bands, got to meet some of my best friends that I'm ever going to have. And I just hope that it's the next step.
It was so great to have all those people there, like saying, like just coming up and saying, like, I met like my girlfriend or boyfriend because of this place. I met all my friends because of this place. I'm alive because of this place. I mean, there's a lot of like real shit that happened there, and it was just people saying that really meant a lot, and that's kind of what made me break down more and more. But it was very, very humbling and like super emotional, but a really fitting way, and I wouldn't want it to happen any other way.
I heard about it through a text message. Someone just said, yep, it's closing in a month. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. These people said like a couple years ago they were gonna close because of money problems. And then every month they'd be like, all right, it's our last month, it's our last month. And then they stopped saying it, and I was like, okay, they're in a good place again. So it really broke my fucking heart. I think immediately people are gonna be very sad about it. We're gonna hold on to that for a really long time. But I also think that there are people that are gonna put other things into place to see if there's any other physical way we could have an all ages venue. If nothing else, we have houses. We have been a place that's had house shows exclusively for years. So it's gonna be fine. We're going to have a scene whether we have a venue or not.
This was like our second chance, you know? And it's real this time. We all know it's real. I found out about it this time from Jack as well, I think. You don't process it until you're here. I walked in yesterday and it was like having your childhood home sold and your best friend dying and your mom dying. Like, where do you go?
Well, here we are. 5 years later, and we're being chased back out of hiding.
I don't know if that's a good thing, but when you deal with subcultures, that's bound to happen. I think nobody understands what's going on here. And so another venue must happen. I think greed and jealousy of what we have here, the message that we spread here, people don't understand. There's no money involved here, and it doesn't make sense. But it makes sense to us. And that's all. This song, Over Life Won't Wait, this song is called Drifter, and it's about music, I suppose. Well, I would like to quote the Mayan goddess, Shakira, no fighting. All right, let's get this over with. Life won't wait. Fargo hardcore, Minneapolis hardcore, Midwest hardcore. It is impossible to go through life without eventually creating some enemies. We have a common enemy tonight. This song goes out to Gentrification. Stuck around. Thank you to everyone that's ever supported this venue. Thank you to all the Minneapolis Canadians, everybody that came down to the show. We're all family.
after New Direction closed down, there was a lot of uncertainty with what was going to happen in the scene, where shows were going to happen, who was going to be booking shows. Right away, some houses did kind of pick up and start doing their own shows and everything, but I still wanted to be able to do my part, so I messaged Diane Miller from the Aquarium, and we had a meeting over the time at coffee to kind of figure out what we were going to do moving forward. And the first thing she offered me was said, hey, would you like to have a New Direction Fest at the Aquarium this year?